Everyone. I don't know what's happened. Let me invite Sarah. We have a wonderful, important discussion about colitis and diverticulitis and all about a very, very interesting topic. Let me invite Sarah. Suddenly, Sarah, join. I just sent it to you. I suddenly lost you. I don't know what happened. Suddenly,
I don't know either. My phone just went, yeah, I think we're just gonna stop now. Okay,
right?
fine.
Like the
Okay,
discussion
fine.
ended here. Oh my God.
I'm trying to set up. Hold on, I'm sorry. I'm
It's all
behind the eight ball.
it's all good.
I
Basically,
thought I'd be in the apothecary today.
it's very good. This is where you should be. It's
A nice
easy.
backdrop, right?
Yes, this is the best vector of herbs. They have unique vibes.
It's better than my dark office.
Yes,
Yeah.
good.
Yay.
How are you?
Hello.
Long time didn't see you.
Long time no see. How's everything going over there on the left coast?
Pretty good. I mean, if we just don't follow much politics and all the stuff, then we are good.
Yeah, right.
But beside that, life. Every
Yeah.
day is a gift. I always say every day is a gift. What was yesterday is forgotten. It's just a lesson for the next day. So whatever it was good or it was bad or it was too much politics in the head or
Yeah.
by the end is our reality. We create our own reality. And it's very important to put everything aside, learn who you are. And I found that this is how we're lacking this essential knowledge. I feel that many of us so far away from our own body, we just went so far, and then we kind of trying to get connected with ourselves, and it's a very tough work, especially in this world where we live right now, when there's so
Yeah.
much social media, we're all the time on the phone, and
So
it's all
true.
rushing. We're rushing somewhere, rushing, instead just stop, and yeah, so
I
another
agree.
cool lesson. Okay, so let's speak about a very important topic. I feel this is a very important topic about the gut health, and specifically about, you asked to speak about colitis and diverticulitis.
SIBO and diverticulitis.
Yeah,
Yeah.
people.
Those are very common digestive complaints. So I figured we might as well talk about a couple of specific things. Because like I said, I do know several people who have suffered with diverticulitis just in my small circle. So it's pretty common. And I'd love to talk about, um, why people are getting diverticulitis and, even SIBO, why, obviously explaining what those things are, why people seem to be getting those things and suffering from those things, but also, risk factors and what you can do, obviously, to heal yourself naturally.
Exactly.
And that's why we're here. So
Exactly.
I have to actually, let me go get my water. I'm gonna,
Okay, go get your water.
because I have tea, but I need something else.
Okay. Now, everyone, if you have any questions, join us. This will be also recorded, so then you can share with your loved ones.
Yeah, so do you want, well, you want me to define what, like, we'll
Let's
start with diverticulitis.
let me
So,
actually grab it. You start defining, and I'm gonna get the chart that it shows images.
oh, wonderful. Oh, I love images. So
Okay.
diverticulitis is inflammation. It's in the lower bowel, the large intestine. The itis will tell you, it's a clue that it's inflammation. Diverticulitis is a pretty common issue that people suffer from in this modern world. It's essentially where the large intestine becomes inflamed. Sometimes little, like, I don't want to, I'm not going to call them holes, but like little indentations can occur in the large bowel.
So
And there's the large bowel. Yeah.
we're talking about this. Okay.
Yeah. And
Thank you.
your large bowel, if you really can't see my body, but I'll turn my, your large bowel it basically starts either one of your hips, right? And it actually comes up right near your rib cage. So a lot of times people say, "Oh, I have a stomach ache." Well, it could be your large bowel. So, because your stomach is behind your left rib cage, left side of your rib cage, your large bowel comes right under your ribs. So a lot of times people will feel that, whether it's gas pains or whether it's just constipation. So diverticulitis is the inflammation in the larger bowel, and you can see from Hava's picture here those little red dots. Those essentially indicate a diverticula. And the itis piece is when they get infected. So you could have diverticula and they don't get infected, but you have them. This is why people get colonoscopies, that and polyps are pretty common. All that stuff is occurring because of inflammation. And your body is not, something is off on your body. So it can cause a lot of pain. People have to go on antibiotics typically for this, not in my world, but we have to be careful what we say because then we get banned from places. But yeah, those are great pictures that you're showing there, Hava, about, what they look like on the inside. And they can differ from person to person, and they can be in different spots too. A common spot is on the descending colon, which is right before the rectum. And that seems to be where constipated stool can sit and cause lots of problems. The other side is the ascending colon that people can get
Right before
diverticular.
going to the bathroom. It's
Yeah.
right.
And the descending colon would be on the left side of your body. And that's a common area for this inflammation to exist. And so the inflammation can become infected. But otherwise, if you have diverticula, it's not a good thing to have, and there's always a risk factor for infections. So that's diverticulitis. And anything else you want to add to that,
No,
Hava?
you're perfect. It's just a
Yeah,
small pouches with the blah blah
yeah,
blah
yeah,
toxins. That's it. Let's
yeah.
continue next.
So you want me to define SIBO?
Yeah, you want to speak about SIBO? Let's
So
do it.
SIBO, yeah. So SIBO would be in and amongst the umbrella of inflammatory bowel diseases, or IBD. So SIBO is a small intestinal bacteria overgrowth. And there can be several different small intestine bacteria that can become overgrown and cause, again, inflammation. Here's the key to this talk, I guess, today. And there's your small intestine, which is inside the large bowel, essentially, from this picture, if you can see it. Of course, if people are on the podcast and it's audio only, we're just showing an image of the large intestine, and the small intestine are kind of nested inside the large bowel as the large bowel goes up and around the outer part of the torso.
Amazing.
And it is amazing. And SIBO is pretty common. Again, it's inflammation caused by bacteria that really shouldn't be there, but sometimes they are supposed to be there. They're just overgrown and become pathogenic. So I'm not going to go into too many details about all the bacteria that can cause problems, but they usually do like a breath test and certain checklist of symptoms, and they will diagnose you as SIBO. One of the bacteria I can speak to is Candida, which is a very common overgrowth that can cause a SIBO-like situation. And Candida is a commensal bacteria that live in our gut. So it's supposed to be there. It just sometimes gets out of control because of poor diets and things like that. But so there's the definitions.
Amazing. So maybe we should just now, as we always in a natural healing, trying to treat the root cause of the problem and not just giving a throw some ideas and some herbs. We really want to teach people the basics. That's why we are so unique in what we do, is because we're trying to teach people what is the root cause of the diseases. And by the end, yes, there is names for the problems, but overall we call digestive problem and why we have the digestive problem. So let's go really into the root cause. So that way people will understand and not get fearful.
Right.
And some people who already might have the beginning of these issues, or it can be also passed from generation to generation due to weakness passed from parents and their ancestors. But overall, we need to teach them what is the root cause. So you want to start, and then I kind of add, or you want me to,
Sure.
whatever.
Well, I think you touched on a really important point there is fear, because we don't want this information to be fearful or be conveyed as, something to be overly concerned about. You can mitigate or you can address these problems, in my opinion, pretty simply. And fear only adds to the inflammation in the body. So we want to empower you, not instill fear. So essentially, soup to nuts, as far as what I can see in regards to diverticulitis, is what sets you up is usually a constipation. So if you are constipated, which basically means hardened stool and not passing stool on a daily basis, you could still have slightly hardened stool and still pass it. You want your stool to be, not too soft. The Goldilocks of stools, not too soft, not too hard. And you want to have a bowel movement every day. I don't know if you guys knew that. Some people don't. Some people only do it like every 2 weeks or maybe twice a week. That if you think about how many times a day you eat, that's how many bowel movements you should have. So if you haven't had a bowel movement in a week, how many meals are still in your body? That's incredible to me. But if you're not passing your stool appropriately, that can set you up for diverticulitis and SIBO. Okay, because SIBO, it could be a transit problem where the stool or the undigested or the digested food hangs out in the small intestine too long. That's bad. But diverticulitis, I think you get set up with it if you have some constipation issues. But I also see the other end of that. I also see, no pun intended, I also see people have majorly loose stools all the time. That can cause a lot of inflammation in the body, in the large bowel, and that can bring on infections. So, you know, um, you want regulated bowel movements, and you don't want it too hard or too soft.
Very good.
Yes, and so um, the other risk factors would be because we live in this modern world. And I really feel like glyphosate, Roundup and other pesticides contribute to poor microbiome or poor bacteria in the gut, lack of diversity. And these bacteria are anti-inflammatory as well as, helping us with all of our biology, to how we feel, to even, our vasculature and how our blood circulates in our brain. I mean, the good bacteria help so much. And a depleted large bowel where, your microbiome, most of it is in your large bowel. And if it's depleted or not diverse, I really feel like that's a huge contributor to diverticulitis. And the things that can set you up for that are poor diets, high in sugar, carbs, but mostly refined sugar and crap food, too much soda, things like that. But you know what else I realized too, Hava, is that people on these proton pump inhibitors
Oh, we're
or
going to talk about that.
or antacids. So that reduces your stomach acid, which reduces your body's ability to digest your food. And then you've got undigested food going in your digestive system, which causes tons of inflammation. So I think for some people, or for anybody really, it could be a combination of factors that can set you up for things like diverticulitis. So that's kind of you know, how I look at it. So we have pesticides that can cause microbiome issues. We have poor diets. We have constipation. We have low stomach acid. You know, and that just describes 80% of the United States.
Exactly.
Because most people are walking around with low stomach acid. You
And,
know it.
yeah, and
And
that's why we need to speak about that. So people, I all the time speak about that, either when I have the podcast with you or with Natasha, the founder of Probiotics United States. And the whole idea is to really bring people to the basics, so that way they understand why we are suffering. And what you mentioned is very important, and I would love to go over that again so that it really settles in people's mind, because you so wonderfully said about all these important topics. I'm just going to go over it, kind of put a statement on it so that way people will remember. So first of all, what you said about constipation, and this is just this alone, we can speak about days upon days just to learn what does it mean constipation, because people are rushing. They don't understand what does it mean constipate. They mean I'm fine, I'm moving every other day, or I'm moving even once a day. And here the whole problem comes into the picture. And what we speak is not only for adults, that can also, we can also speak about young babies, which just yesterday I had someone who came over to me and she said, you know, that her grandson is a couple months old and he moves the bowels every week, once a week. And the pediatrician said, it's all good, it's fine, it's normal. Now, and
it's
this
not normal.
Obviously, what I say is that already the foundation is not correct. Right. So I want you as a mother or as caregiver or as you yourself and your husband and your family, whatever. The idea is that you should learn about the bowel movements, how often you move them, the shape, and do you strain, do you sit too long, because all those ones can actually tell you what is going on with your body. So as Sarah said so beautifully, is that depends on how many meals do you eat. And this is what kicks be your own healer, is when we can suggest, but by the end we're just giving you the tools. You need to implement them. And what does it mean implement? That means be realistically honest about yourself. How often do you move? Do you sit too long? Do you push? Do you strain? Do you have a pain? Do you have a gas? All those are telling you there is something wrong with your digestive tract. So, and now what simple things like that already will help you to prevent the problem in the first place. Now, bowels are so important, and that's exactly what constipation, that means, I usually like to say it's a garbage bag piled up in your kitchen with a lot of scraps and whatever it is, all the garbage. And then instead to removing the garbage, you call your friend and say, listen, I have no patience to remove the garbage. Can you bring me a larger garbage bag? So you drive to the store and you buy a larger garbage bag, and then you put this bag inside the larger, and then you continue piling up. What will happen? You're going to end up having parasites. You will end up having all these issues that we're talking today, and you might be having bad breath, dental issues. All this, it's because the buildup of a toxicity. That's why foundation of moving the bowels daily is #1 rule to save your life. Okay, so that's very important. And what you said, very important about diarrhea. If you have a diarrhea all the time, that means also you are constipated. That means you have an inflammation. So people think diarrhea, it's just a loose stool. No, it's a loose stool because you're constipated. Because there is so much piled up toxins that are blocking the area. So the body's way is to create liquid, because the body is a healing machine. What it's trying to do is eliminate faster the toxins. Yeah. So in both ways, it's constipation. Yeah. So yeah. So thank you so much for really mentioning all this. Now, I also what you mentioned about how we get in this issue in the first place. And you said about depletion, and it's very important. And many people get upset because many people tell me, Chava, I'm eating clean, I'm eating only fruits and vegetables, and all the time looking for organic. But people don't understand that we live in a very toxic environment, unfortunately. Now we're learning about the glyphosate, but we knew this prior. And about 80, 90 years ago, we started spraying these toxic chemicals. First, we start giving this to our cows. So they start retain a lot of liquid in their digestive tract, so you can sell them for a higher price. And also, they would do not digest the processed food, so they would become bloated. So this is because the glyphosate was added to their diet. Now we then would slaughter these cows and enjoy their meat. We would get the same toxins passed to us. So that already creates weakness. Then we start with the wheat and all fruits and vegetables, all sprayed with the glyphosate, which is antibiotic. So when people come and tell me, Chava, I'm eating very clean, I understand, but you need to understand that from the beginning, you already have lack of these essential strains, essential bacteria. You're not the, if you look, see very well, if you look, people from 100 years ago, they easily could live up to 100 years easy, right? People who are even still now at age 90 or 80, they all have essential good bacteria, which we are all lacking. All what I'm trying to say is that we are lacking essential bacteria. And while when we're gonna get the essential bacteria into our gut, then we're gonna create a full healing. So it's very important to understand only eating clean will not solve the issue.
Well, you'll go really far if you do. I mean, we all do the best we can. Certainly washing your vegetables and your fruit can help. There's the environmental working group. You can select the dirty dozen and get those out of your life. You know, environmental working group has a website, and they'll really kind of hone in on the fruits and veggies that you want to buy organic. Because I mean, I honestly used to buy organic all the time, but they've just made it so expensive that I just pick and choose the things that are organic. So the things that, you know, have the fruits that have like thin skins, like apples and stuff, get those organic. Things that have a lot of water, like celery or your melons. Melons are hard to get organic, but the celery you can get organic. So pick and choose the things, do the best you can. Soak your fruits and vegetables in vinegar water to get off as much of the residual pesticides and herbicides or whatever that are on them that you can, and do the best you can. But I do believe that when people switch their diets up, and even if they can't go full organic or they can't afford organic, it's better than eating at McDonald's or buying packaged foods or the lean cuisines or, you know, anything overly processed. You know, if it's whole, it's good in my book. And again, we just do the best we can.
And what
And
you
that's
mentioned, Sarah, about the fruits, and you're so correct about that, because even in the health food stores, when you see the fruits that have been cut and they look so beautiful, and you think, oh my gosh, it will save me time, you should know they contain maggots, they contain flies. So even you think that you're buying from organic store, they still contain this contaminated stuff, and it's not healthy. So always choose strawberries, and that you wash them, that you have a contact with them, that you can truly see what's inside, what's in front of you. Never trust those cutted fruits and vegetables, because by the end we will pay price for it. And because we have such a destroyed microbiome, and most, as you said, 80% of the people suffering from it, if we add more toxins, then we suffer more. So that's how we should be aware. And what you said about the food from the restaurants and all those places, you have to be very careful. You know, I'm experimenting, and I want to tell you that as more I experiment, trying different foods, and I go to the like high class restaurant, I'm trying to see, you know, I'm trying to learn, because I always was only preparing home food, and that's what I used to. But now that I live by myself, sometimes, you know, who wants to cook a whole meal?
Right.
I try to experiment. And honestly, I want to tell you that there is nothing as a homemade food. By the end, it just saves you so much headache. It's just so much more nourishing, so much more cleaner. And yes, you should, okay, once in a while you can go outside. Just know who is making the food for you, from where they bring the food. Make sure it's a high quality, it's not the old dumpy place. And it's very important because your life depends on it. The quality of the food is the matters. And now we're talking the people who already have issues. That means all of us, we all, me, you, and whoever is listening, we all have problems to begin with. We already, our intestine, our gut is so depleted. So we don't want to put more issues. We don't want to put more strain on our gut. That's why you should better to avoid all those areas. Avoid the donuts. Okay, so I also want to mention that we're not against enjoying donut once in a while, like once a month. It's
Yeah.
fine,
Yeah.
but at least you're aware of it. What we're trying to raise is awareness. You listen. Oh, I had a donut a couple weeks ago. This is how I felt. Maybe I should avoid. You know. So but if you say, "Oh, I truly want," then enjoy it. But at least you knowingly know what to expect, and not to swallow the donut and then they sit and complain and run to the doctor and saying, "Listen, now I have a diarrhea, I have a gas, I have a stomach."
Yeah, and hey, listen, you know, we are all paying for people's food habits. Every one of us is paying. Our healthcare costs are ridiculous. Every one of us is paying for that person to have a donut every day. So think about it that way as well, because we all pool our money if you get insurance. And my health insurance went up a huge amount this year, and we are healthy people. So we have to consider, you know, America needs to clean up their diet. And this is what I like about the Maha movement. I like certain aspects of what's going on and bringing awareness. Who would have thought bringing awareness to good food would be controversial? Who knew that, right? But you know, we could suggest herbs all day long. And we could be, you know, I stand it behind this counter, and I just said this to somebody today. I could stand behind this counter. I stand behind it almost every day. And I would rather give you good advice than sell you something that's not going to be any good to you. Because you can take all the herbs you want, but if you're not going to give your body good food, then honestly, you're wasting your money on supplements.
Good.
Because it starts with what goes in your mouth and what you feed yourself with. And it's not just feeding your physical body, but it's feeding your emotional body too. And you're feeding the whole country, honestly. Because there's a lot of people that eat horribly, they're overweight, they're on the sugar craving roller coaster. They can't get out of it. And all right, I get addiction. I understand that, you know, I feel for you. But it's not just you that is affected by all this. It's all of us. And it starts with diet. And a lot of people don't know what that means, a good diet.
So let's speak about that.
Yeah. So, oh, I eat well. What does that mean? It's like if you get half fruits and veggies in your diet a day, you're doing pretty good. You know, that's a tough one, but you know, sometimes people just don't eat enough, and that could be a problem. But half fruits and veggies a day, a good quality protein. I don't care if you're vegetarian. I don't care if, you know, vegan has a little harder time, in my opinion, to get good quality food in them, just because you do have to eat a lot, and there are some nutritional deficiencies that go with that. But, you know, get a good quality protein, eat your fat. I think the worst thing that happened was a low fat diet for a portion of these people that think fat is your enemy. It is not. And you know, get your nuts, get your seeds. And so that's a good diet. It isn't in a package, And if it's in a package and you're reading the label and 15 minutes later you're still reading the label, don't buy the food. If you can't pronounce what's in it, don't buy it. Because most of those things are they're preservatives, they're additives for color or texture. I mean, finally, Subway took yoga mat substance out of their bread because it gave it nice texture. It's the same stuff that was in the yoga mats, that was the thing
Oh my,
several years ago. So, I mean, fast food's terrible because you don't know what they're putting in the food. Um, but you need to be able to pronounce it. And if you pick up an apple, there's nothing to read on the label, is there? It's just an apple. Beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. So that's kind of my spiel on food.
good.
It doesn't have to be complicated. You don't have to have a personal chef. You don't have to have the most pristine of pristine um, grown food from around where you live, which is great if you can get local. Because I feel like people set themselves up for failure. Oh, I can't get that, so I won't do it. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be mindful. It has to be real food. Uh, and yeah, like you said, Hava, sometimes we want a donut. Sometimes we have a sweet here and there, but sweets are a sometimes food, not a snack, which is a problem. And vegetables are a thing that you put on your plate. Just, I see that a lot out there. And I know I've said this before on this podcast when we talk about digestion, but I brought my kids up to know what food makes them feel like. And whenever they go over someone's house, or wherever they go, like, what did you eat? What are they eating over there at that household? And I'm telling you right now, America has a diet problem because people don't know what vegetables are.
I
And
agree.
all they know is mac and cheese and Cheez-Its and, what else? Meat is usually meat. They get a good, whatever meat. But then there's the carb, uh, chicken fingers and mac and cheese and so those aren't good choices. They're just not. I mean, if you make your own chicken fingers from scratch, that's wonderful. But and then there's the whole thing with people that say cooking is it takes too long and I work too hard. And I've had my own business, homeschooled my children, had 4 jobs, and I still make dinner. I don't have 4 jobs now. I own my own business. When my kids were growing up, I worked, I homeschooled, and I still cooked. So there's ways that you can make it work for yourself. You just have to be resourceful and do some things in advance. And dinners don't have to be complicated. They really don't. I mean, if you put your mind to it, you can have a nice um, I usually you can saute chicken and throw in the vegetables and have rice, and you can have it done in 30 to 40 minutes.
Yep.
Big whoop. It's better than opening up a box and sticking it in the microwave. It's faster, but it's not going to feed you. It's not going to really feed you, so you're going to pay for it down the line. So that's my spiel on good food. It doesn't have to be complicated. It just has to be real.
Amazing. And you're truly correct about that. And I would add few things. First of all, if you already have a weak digestion, and as I said, 80% of people they do, if not more, then in that case, I would suggest eat less raw food. That's something that might get probably upset many, but in reality, if you're so sensitive and you have already digestive problems, and pushing a raw food can actually cause more issues down the road. And the idea is that, like, you have a bruise, you're not going to continue bruising more, because if you have a bruise, the body tells you, heal me, love me, take care of me. And that's where the cooked food, stews, all those stuff are very, very healing for your gut. So I always would suggest, it's like similar when we in the beginning introducing food to the babies. We don't right away give them meat and we kind of cook a little bit. We kind of bring it to the simmer, and and that's where we start introducing the food. Not right away you're going to give him an orange, because if they're still not ready, you'll see right away red patches are. So the same thing with you. You start with the cooked food, and when you are healed, then you can introduce more. But the easy part from all this that you can take with you after listening to us is prepare more soups. And soups are the fastest and the most easiest way to put on the table, which you can make a chicken soup, you can make squash soup, you can make zucchini soup, you can make a broccoli soup, you can make a carrot soup. There is so many, but just with this idea, soup, you can actually heal yourself. So remember that you don't, well, as Sarah said, you don't really have to have a fancy meals. All you would need to do is to put inside more nourishing and warming and healing foods. So I would suggest cook more soups, stews. And stews, what's the problem? Throw some bone and some piece of meat. And very important that many people forgetting is to add very high quality fibers into the diet, and are the ones, the beans and the lentils and the rices and many other things, the kasha, the buckwheat, millet, all those stuff are amazing. This is what our ancestors been using this for generations. Now, it's how long it took you? Nothing. So and the very important is this, all these lentils and beans, they need to be cooked in the correct way. Okay, so I don't know if we need to get into these details, maybe next time. But the idea is that the lentils are amazing because they are rich in fiber, and they take with them all this toxic bacteria, and they're flushing them out from your system. And I've seen many times people who have issues when they go on these delicious soups and stews, their bowel movements are really become bulky and good, you know, and they start moving. And it's incredible. Why? Just because you introduce this unique lentils and some beans into your diet. Now, many people will tell me, yeah, but I'm going to be bloated. Bloatness is just shows you toxicity. But overall, this is what you have to do. We're going to continue how to rebuild, obviously, your gut in this topic. But all what I'm trying to do, and I tell you why. I've seen many people who are very healthy, conscious-minded, and they eat trays of vegetables, literally trays, and they still end up with some sort of a digestive problem. So again, it comes, do not, on the very weak stomach, do not bring a lot of raw vegetables. Now about the fruits. I have no problem about the fruits because fruits are easy, more digestible. Now, not all the fruits are equal. Some fruits like a banana, papaya, pineapple, pears, they're incredible, right? So, and they're very soothing. And then we have oranges and lemons, which is also incredible. So here comes in, do not combine them with the meals. Fruits are meal by itself, usually eaten in the morning. It's like a light fruit. It's very important to also understand what you're craving for when you no longer depend on the crackers and the mac and cheese, like Sarah said, then you suddenly, your taste buds return. It takes a couple weeks, and about 2 weeks, if I'm not, to your taste buds start finally realizing and craving for a real food. And listen to that. And another very important thing that I would add is that you should never eat cold, iced. And we become nation that young kids to adults munching from the morning, icy teas, ice blends, ice, and the ice actually weakens your system. And if you're munching on the ice, it's because you're either very anemic, meaning that your hemoglobin is not good, or your intestines are in a big trouble. So It's just awareness. It's just to tell you, if you're craving ice and you have a lot of heat in your gut, that means you have a lot of toxicity, and you have to really get to root cause. And again, it comes to what you eat, what you drink. But avoid the ice. Is it true that we see so many people? I here in Los Angeles, I've seen all the time people munching on ice, ice
Yes.
in the morning, ice in the mouth, and that weakens the stomach. And you need to remember that you already started since you baby with a very weak stomach. So now you're basically adding and weakening more. And if you look at the people in Japan and all those areas, they actually in the morning they drink warm ginger, right? They drink
Yes.
warm drinks, or
Mm-hmm.
either drink miso soup or something to bring warmness, to help to heal. And we do an opposite, unfortunately. So I think it's a huge thing about it. Okay.
Yeah, good, good. So we should probably get going on how we can help heal specifically. Are you still there? Oh,
We
you're
should,
left.
we
Oh,
should go about how we heal this problem. Once we already know that we have the issue, now how we heal the problem. You want to go, Sarah? Let's start with
yeah. So, you know,
if
this is where the herbs.
you and tells you, okay, the doctor told me I have diverticulitis. What should I do? What should we tell them? What you
Well,
should.
if it's an active infection, without going into what the doctor would do, let the doctors do what they do. You could do the antibiotics. I have, but I know we have to be careful. We can't like say that people shouldn't do things, but
Right.
we have tools that you can use. And this is where the herbs come in really nicely. But if you have an active infection of diverticulitis, you really want to kind of soften up your diet a little bit. Make it very, very easy for you to digest, because you want to give your large bowel a rest. So I always say, like, I've looked up some diets for diverticulitis, and there's a lot of foods that you shouldn't do. I'm not going to get into all the lists. I'm just going to kind of go into what you should do is cook your food really well. Keep it bland. Keep a lot of the like some of the vegetables that can be fibrous. Keep those under wraps. Don't do those. Do things like applesauce and cook bananas. You can cook them a little bit to ease up the digestibility. Do you can do like really, really overly cooked oatmeal, or you can do like cream of wheat and things like that. But keep it very, very simple, very bland for at least 2 or 3 weeks, depending on how bad it is, and let your body heal. It might be a tough row to hoe for some people. Definitely stay away from sugar. Sugar is a trigger for diverticulitis. It feeds the bad bacteria. Um, and then I would do herbs like Oregon grapefruit, marshmallow root, slippery elm, um, a little bit of garlic, not much. I would use fennel. I would use some other antimicrobials in there. Plantain would be lovely. Licorice, heal, reduce the inflammation. I make a tea. I've made teas for diverticulitis, and I also use my healing gut powder for the diverticulitis. It works really well, and you heal, and that's the important thing. If you don't give your body enough time to heal, it will just come back. So really investigate what a good diverticulous diet would be. Get rid of anything that's hard to digest, any fibrous vegetables, any raw is out of the question. Don't do raw. Don't do any like salads or anything like that. That's just going to be harder on your gut, on your large bowel. But things that are soup would be absolutely perfect. Do bone soup. The collagen will help heal the area as well. But you can, like you said, Hava, there's so many things about soup that are so good for your body, and it's so digestible, and you can throw so much in a soup. You could do that. I love the idea of the carrot soup with turmeric um, in a nice bone broth, and you can add little pieces of chicken or whatever, and just cook it really well, and you can sip on that. But there's so many really nice options uh, for, that you can put in soup for this issue. And it's the perfect because it's nice and warm and it's going to heal things. But you really need to switch up your diet first and foremost. Then we use our antimicrobials to knock down and get rid of the infection. Um, and then we're going to use soothing herbs like slippery elm and marshmallow and licorice with the bone broth to bring on more healing, build that mucosal layer. We've got this slimy thing going on in our guts, just like we do in our mouth. It's slimy, and that's what our guts should be. And when your large bowel becomes inflamed, as well as your small bowel, that inflammation breaks down, that's an indication that mucosal layer is broken down and it's not working properly. Those little glands aren't excreting the slimy stuff anymore. So, or not as well. So we introduce it with herbs, and doing that, you can really heal yourself so far. But if you don't have, look, if you don't have an herbalist near you, if you don't can't afford the herbs, you don't want to do that, make soup. Put the garlic in there, put the fennel in there. But then, really think about your diet and get rid of all the raw and cook it really well. And they say to stay away from certain foods like seeds, but anything in general that's hard to digest, you want to be mindful of. Um, and so that's how I would address diverticulitis. But one of the most important things is to introduce good probiotics,
Very
because yes, because I feel like that's the underlying issue. I really feel like I talked before, that's one of the main underlying issues. In the large bowel, the microbiome is all jammed up. It's not diverse enough. You've got pathogenic bacteria overgrowing, causing inflammation, and I think that's the stepping stone for these pockets that can form.
that's
You know,
true.
yeah.
So
So when you were giving your garbage bag analogy, which I really like, all that garbage gets more compacted in there, just jamming in there, right? And that fermentation process is happening with that. Like if you smelled that garbage, stuff is breaking down in there. That's what's going on in your large bowel. That contributes to diverticulitis. That contributes to polyps. That contributes to the poor diversity. And so think about it that way as well. You want to prop up the good bacteria and you don't want the bad bacteria to win. So those are the basic things that I would do. And for SIBO, just quickly about SIBO, the healing gut powder is nice in there too, using your antimicrobials and you have mucosal builders, but also SIBO is associated with low transit. So really slow transit. So, the food staying in your small bowel way too long, and you're not breaking down the sugars very well anymore in the food. So you need to speed up your transit time. So then, I'd be thinking about bitters, artichoke leaf, bitters like gentian or dandelion root or burdock root, and that will increase, the transit time. So just quickly, I wanted to add that.
that's amazing. It's very necessary. And the herbs that you usually suggest them to take as a tea, or you suggest them to take as a tincture, or you suggest them to take as in the capsules. What would you suggest?
Well, I wouldn't do tinctures for this. I would do tea in encapsulations.
Mhm.
So, just for instance, the gut powder I make is an encapsulation that people take usually at night, but for this, I'd probably have people take it both ends of the day and then drink the tea throughout the day. So the tea could be something really tasty, maybe a little mint, the licorice, the plantain leaf, Plantago major. You could add some fennel in there, and things like that. Marshmallow root, slippery elm, things that really help to reduce the inflammation and get things healing up. So usually tea and encapsulations for them. Is
Amazing.
what I, yeah.
Okay, good. So I'll add a few more things on top. The first thing that we forgot to mention is about we didn't forget. It's just part of what we speak and suggest. The first thing is chew your food. Okay, so that's very important. And I think this is, I've seen most people who are suffering from digestive issues, most of it's because they are gulping the food very quickly. And I actually sometimes sit and watch people, and I just try to see how fast they eat the food. And all the time, I see that people truly gulping. Like yesterday, I went to the place and I was sitting, and I usually, it takes me a very long time to finish my meal. But and there was one guy who was behind me when he ordered the food. We both sat on the table, and then he basically finished, and I still stayed for another half hour, but the place was already clean and the person ate. That means he ate so quickly. This is a big issue that we have. So very important that you don't have a pair of teeth in your stomach. So if you want to avoid the disease, the first thing is you should learn how to chew your food. And when you chew your food, this is the first way toward healing. This is a very important part of moving forward, starting to work on yourself and healing. Okay, so that's very important. Next thing, when it comes to healing, and you mentioned something very important, and that's probiotics. And this is the world that I'm swimming in for a long time, and I'm so thankful for Natasha for opening her heart and and teaching me all these important things that I think many times we're not aware of those. And yes, restoring your microbiome. Now 90% of public knows about the probiotics, but they don't understand that 90% of probiotics in the market are actually garbage. And the issue that we have is that most people who are in the market selling probiotics, they are very dangerous probiotics, very dangerous strains. They are not confirmed live strains. They are combining too many strains together. And this is a huge problem that we have. When you throw everything, it's like, it's called a kitchen sink. When you take and throw everything inside, and then expecting something to work out. In our times, in our generation, we cannot allow this to happen. That means we have to be very careful and know exactly the source of where we buy our probiotics, because there's so much misinformation outside. And so for that, thank God, I work with the mother of probiotics, and she taught me that essential strains work differently in every part of your intestines. One is for the large intestine, one is for small intestine, one for a good elimination, good process. So usually I would suggest everyone, I mean, whoever is listening to us, whoever will listen to us, should be on a Superdafolis probiotics. And this is how it looks. This is the beginning of a Superdafolis of probiotics. You can purchase this on my site. Now, it's not about making money. It's about truly healing people. Okay. This is a live bacteria that comes in a refrigerator. It's very essential that you understand that your probiotics are truly alive and they're not combined with 100 different strains inside. And you need to understand this is a live bacteria. When you swallow, it goes in and then starts build a family inside. Now, when you have a weak digestion, when you have already diverticulitis, when you have already the problem, that means it's so weakened there. And if you start introducing foreign materials that are not truly good bacteria, or combination of many, they can cause more damage. And that's what people do. Many suggest do your own kefirs, do your own cabbages, do sauerkraut, drink kombucha. This is the biggest mistake that they do, because what they do is in the raw material, now they introduce more severe bacteria that we don't know who they are. That's why we have to be very careful, and we start working with Superdafolis. Now, Superdafolis will go in and start restoring and rebuilding. And this is one of the first strains that I usually suggest. The next strain is a Bulgaricum and Bifidobacter. Now, Bifidobacteria, as we know, most of the adults no longer have the Bifidobacteria. People who are unfortunately took a shot no longer have this essential bacteria in their gut. So basically, and children who are autistic have no longer this bacteria. And this is very important. So you should start taking those. But first, I want to start baby steps. We're going to start with the super duppers. How to take your probiotics. You need to take them in the morning or in the evening. In some cases, in the middle of the day. How much do you take? Now it depends on you yourself. You can take 2 capsules, or you can take half teaspoon and see how it works with you. And the issue is that because when you have so much garbage inside your system, that means you have so many bad guys that already settled and built a family. And if you've been on antibiotics, that's even more issues. You will have some sort of a side effects. So because you're working with large strains, you kind of have to ask yourself, oh, is it 2 times a day makes me feel good? 3 times a day makes me feel good, or maybe 4 times a day makes me feel good. You understand? We just have to work with what we feel, and that's where natural healing, heal yourself, kicks in. Because not me and not Sarah can give you the real answer. You are the one need to be aware what is happening in your system while you're rebuilding and repopulating with the good essential bacteria.
So you would start with Superdophilus if someone was dealing with diverticulitis?
Yes, I would start with Superdophilus because this is the easiest bacteria to begin with.
Yeah, okay.
And then we also want to add into it that it's not everything what we put. We can also do an enema, and it's called retention enemas. In some cases, because we are dealing with the, where is it? With the packets here, we want to send as much as we can good bacteria also over here, because the transit, right, when we swallow from the mouth,
yeah,
when we swallow, it goes in and goes into your digestive tract, right, and then it passes through the intestine, then goes to the large. Okay, yeah. So small and then large. So we also want to work from here to restore the good bacteria. So in that case, what I would suggest that you do also retention enemas or suppositories. That's how we call it. And for that purpose, I can show you how we do. You asked me to show.
Yeah. Yes.
So we're going to take about a teaspoon of a Superdophilus probiotics. Now, you need to know that your probiotic must be refrigerated at all times. There is no question about it. If your probiotic come stable, shelf stable, that's garbage. Throw out. Don't waste your money. Okay. Then you can use a couple oils. You can use either shea butter, organic shea butter. You can use a castor oil, or you can use a coconut oil, olive oil. It's fine. But the idea is to use oils that are hardened with the time. So you're going to warm this oil, and then you're going to add, not while it's still hot, but it's cooled a little bit. And then you combine this with this, you take shea butter, you combine them together, and you mix them very well. And then what you do is you can create a shape, or you can use, actually I have here, this is the suppository. This is how if you make your own, and you can just, but in this case, you really have to warm them. But I would suggest not, if you work with shea butter, you kind of have to warm it. With the coconut less, you kind of more flexible in a way. So yeah, is easy. And then you stuff this with the mixture. And on top of it, I would add 1 drop of DMSO. And as we know, DMSO is a wonderful carrier into the cells.
Yeah.
So what we do is now we actually making this suppository much more effective. And if there is also infection, which may be, in one case you suggest antibiotics, right, for some people, we can use also a little bit iodine, like 1 drop of iodine, which is antibacterial, antifungal. So combination of all that, we can create suppositories and insert into the anus. And that usually should be done at night, or at least while you're lying down, because when you push in suppositories, if you're standing or walking, actually everything will come out. But we want to retain as more as it possible. So that's a one way. Another way is to really making an enema, meaning warming the water, and then actually warming the water, make sure the source of the water is very clean, and then you add the superdopolis. In that case, you can add teaspoon or tablespoon, depends. If it's a baby, if it's a child, or if it's an adult, or very old, or anyway. So obviously you work accordingly to what you have in front of you. And then you just insert the enema, and then you massage the area. So that way you're pushing in the water with the live bacteria. So again, we work from the mouth and from the anus, both ways. And there is no exception in this case, because only hopping supplements will not help. You have to work also from the anus area. So this is a wonderful way to heal. And this is what I usually would suggest as the beginning. And then, let me put this in the charger because my phone will die in a minute. Any questions? And we have a listeners. Maybe they want to ask us any question. Anyone have any questions about what we're just talking? If anyone is suffering and wants to know, no. Okay, it's fine. It's good. If you have any question, you can always write and we will answer you. So basically, this is what I would suggest, internally and through the anus, and in both ways. It's very essential. And I want to tell you, everyone, you have to be very careful and avoid all the other strains or unknown drinks, fermented drinks, kefirs and stuff, because this is actually not healthy. Not in a way not healthy. As I said before, you have a damage, so you cannot on a wound create more damage. You first have to heal. And when you said about the marshmallow and the slippery elm and aloe vera, which is another way also, you can actually also put aloe vera juice into suppositories as well. That all this, what they do, as you said, it's like a saliva, it's mucousy, it's very healing. Another wonderful food that we would suggest, and this okra. Okra water is incredible, right? All those. So basically, avoid all the unknown fermented drinks. You eat cooked food, and you restore your microbiome from the mouth and from the anus. Otherwise, it's not going to help. You have to work both ways. And do you want to add something? And then I'll speak a little bit about the clapping, which is also very essential.
Then we need to wrap up because we're getting close to 6.
Okay.
No, I think that's great, and I love talking about the probiotics because, you know, that's what I've been telling a lot of people about. I too have them on my website now, and I'm a whatever you want to call it, a distributor, whatever. They're wonderful. They're helped me considerably, and they're helping a lot of people that I suggest them to. So
maybe we should cover again why we specific these formulas and not any other ones that in the market. I'll tell very quickly. Number one is because they are 100% validated. Strains are alive and ready, okay? Which most of the companies, they don't do that. Next, they're refrigerated through the whole time of shipping. They're refrigerated also when they arrive to you. You have to keep this in. If you see probiotics unrefrigerated, that probiotics are dead. Next thing, if you see probiotics, they are diluted with the sugar. That's a garbage. That's irrelevant. If you see probiotic, they tell you this is a special yogurt that I created. what kind of strains did you use? If you use strains that are unknown or they are soil strains, you can actually harm yourself because you're introducing a bad soil bacteria that should not be in your system into your already weakened system. That's another thing. And one more thing that if you see the probiotics in the liquid form, that's garbage. If you see the probiotics diluted or mixed with the herbs, this is a no, 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 because they cannot survive. They are alive. This is alive people, the live bacteria inside. So if you combine them with the herbs, let's say like a garlic or even golden seal or marshmallow, or any other ones, they have no food, so they will die. That's how important it is to understand, so that at least people understand this root cause of why those probiotics are so unique. And let me tell you one more thing as the final, and then we're going to close, is about clapping. And Sarah knows that, and I'm so much thankful to learn this unique technique, which means clapping, that you can be your own teacher. Now, clapping is so important because that actually stimulates your organs. And now, when you clap on your hands, actually on all your hands, and you might say, it seems crazy, Chava. Yes, I understand. Join our live classes every Sunday from 10 o'clock, and you'll see what is it, experience with us. But you will see, when you clap over your hands, what you do, you stimulate your bowels, you stimulate your large and lower intestine. So what happens is that when you clap, you stimulate a different meridians in your system. When you clap over your inner elbow or inside or any surface that we usually, it's a knees, a back and outside, it's also your toes, you stimulate and create healing. So here we cause the beauty of natural healing, that we combining the food, we're combining restoring the microbiome, we're combining it in herbs that are working synergetically with our system, and then we clap, we bring in circulation. There is no way people not gonna heal. There is no way, because what me and you are doing are creating a change.
Absolutely. It's a revolution, Hava.
It's a revolution.
Revolution of healing yourself naturally.
Absolutely.
And it's a revolution of you know, empowering people with knowledge so they know what to do. It's reducing the fear. It's destroying this authoritative top down, I can't do it because so and so, you know, my doctor said I couldn't or could or whatever, you know, no more of that. It's about listening to yourself.
Oh, I don't hear. Absolutely, I agree. Yeah.
So that's what we're here to do. That's what my job is on this planet and yours. This is my journey. Um, and, you know, I'd rather give somebody good advice than give them a product that doesn't work. Or it might work, but they're not, you know, going to do it. So, you know, if the first step is you.
Exactly. And this is all about be honest about yourself, learn about yourself. We are here to support you, to help you, to guide you. And I do feel, I truly feel this is a movement, and the movement that you truly can participate in it, because when you change yourself, you change people around you. And there's no better time as this. And the beauty is that what we give is very simple. It's doable. Everyone can do it. And it's absolutely, truly incredible system when we work all every area in our system. It's like, you know, I usually say I'm giving a whipped cream of 20 something years working with people. Now took me years, 100,000 books reading and incorporating different studies, and people now realize, oh, light therapy, this, and now we have a new fascia therapy, this therapy. It's all nonsense. It's, you forget the noise. You just go back into yourself, learn about who you are, why, what, from what you're suffering, why you're suffering, and then be honest to heal yourself. And you have the tools: restoring microbiome, working internally, in taking a proper herbs, clapping over certain meridians, and you can restore your health. But it's easy to say, hard to do. So let's go back and work. You want to say a final word?
One step at a time is what I say.
Amazing.
So,
Thank you.
this was beautiful. And then we will meet again next month, the first Wednesday of every month. I am Sarah Woods-Kender from Sacred Tree Herbals here in Meredith, New Hampshire.
This is Chava. It's like,
From Hava all the way over there on the left coast in California. My beautiful friend.
yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye, everyone. Thank you, everyone who came. Bye-bye.